too. And this Dolphin Award, I think, completely leads me to the next critical choice, the fourth area that I want to explore with you, which is creating community and belonging. So for me, I was 30 years old and I had created more professional success than I ever thought. Oh my gosh, you and I got to talk, like really get into this, because it's just the craziness of where I came from and where I got to. But what I realized is I'm friendly with everyone, friends with no one. I had created this world where I still didn't belong anywhere. And I learned that in order to belong, I had to create my own community and my own sense of belonging. So this area is very, very dear to me as I work with women and others everywhere. So let's keep going with the dolphin analogy. But when I think about creating community and belonging, well, how about this? Has there ever been a time that you have felt like you didn't belong? And if so, how did that feel?
Many, many times. And I think to develop friendship and belonging requires a sense of vulnerability that is very difficult sometimes to do in the situations that I was in as a CEO. So talk about not belonging. In the early days of raising venture capital in the 2000s, of walking into a typically male-dominated networking event, when I was taught, don't interrupt people in conversations. Like, there was so many times I didn't feel like I belonged, that the conversations they were having, it just culturally, the sports analogies and where they would go after hours where I was probably not welcome to attend. And just the reality of men not in many throughout my career. And I've been here a long time, including, the 80s and 90s, where it was difficult to know even how women fit into the workforce and how to actually incorporate women into the culture that had been traditionally male dominated. And so I think for me, it's hard for me to have people break in. I'm very friendly, but it takes a lot to actually become my friend. And not because I don't want that, but it's a level of vulnerability that I'm pretty protective of. So in many instances, and especially as I was an entrepreneur, you can't have it all at once, all at the same time. You can't. I'm married, I have kids, I'm trying to be an entrepreneur. What got sacrificed were friends and self-care. Like those things just, if you look at the percentage of the brain, of the 100% of my time, the friends were zero, other than maybe a community around what my
work.
So work became my community. And then a little bit around the people that, the soccer team and the Girl Scouts. I mean, I was leading a Girl Scout team, a Girl Scout, and all of that you do as a parent. I was actually, this is funny because I ran the PTSA for 2 years because I was like, this is a business. You women need to move.
And you're like, get them into like ship shape here. Fundraising, get them over the events. Like, come on. Well, and you're a seller and you're a business developer. So
work became my community. And that's where I think culture became incredibly important is work. They were my people. I mean, they are my people. Even the team's my people. And so I think I care deeply about them. And I wouldn't think that we're necessarily friends, but if you think about community and belonging, I hope people feel a sense of belonging there. And I hope I create a sense of belonging. Since my kids have grown up and I'm no longer an entrepreneur and I still work incredibly hard, I have found room in my life for some really, really incredible friendships. And that's been nice because that was a part of my life that I just didn't have time for with everything that's happening.
And so how does it feel to belong? When you've created that belonging at work or at home, what does it feel like to belong?
It's interesting. I think COVID was an inflection point for me around belonging, because prior to that, I was traveling all the time. I didn't have an opportunity to really step back and understand who is valuable in my life and how did they show up in different ways in my life that was valuable. So COVID actually was a 2 or 3 year opportunity to step back and say, who's in my pod? And so we had 5 people in our pod, and we spent a lot of time together cooking and We would actually go and a couple of times rent Airbnbs together. Like, we're going to bring in all our groceries. Remember when we were like,
that's a great idea.
And so it was the first time that I actually had both the time and intentionality and frankly, the need to spend a good amount of time. Like, I didn't see my parents for a really, really long time, almost 2 years.
Right.
And, through the glass sort of thing, we lived in the same town, but they weren't part of the pod. So it wasn't really my family. It became a really close knit set of friends that was, accelerated the opportunity. Then now when I am traveling a little bit more, those bonds are built to be able to have that continue.
That is beautiful. And I never want to bring the story back to me, but I have to tell you, I relate to that. Because it was during the pandemic when I stopped traveling that I really ended up opening up more to, I'll say the neighborhood moms that only knew me as the mom that's always out of town. Oh, she's like this professional mom that's always out of town. And I never really opened up to them about the life experiences that make me who I am and whatever it is. And now we're so close and I'm more myself and I have this pod that we're dolphins and we raise each other up and we're there for each other, and for that, it was a gift. Thank you for joining me for our Choose and Become interview series. You could find this episode and others at trishkendall.com. Just go to trishkendall.com/choose-become-interview-series. Or if you have a question or just want to leave a comment, email me, trish@trishkendall.com.